Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of Brave. It's really for high achieving career women to embody confidence, reclaim their self worth, and step into their next chapter with purpose. And I'm so excited to welcome Simona Spark here today, who is just a wonderful human. I'm so excited to connect with and have on the Brave stage. So let me share a little bit about Simona and then we'll dive into her story. So Simona is a transformational coach, a best-selling author, TEDx speaker, a podcast host, international speaker, course creator, and so many other things. And before anything else, she's a mother who raised her child while moving to three different continents and six different states and counties. And she is a woman who's healed her story, and she's brave enough to break the rules and commit to her own that align with her wildest dreams. And she has a best-selling book, Raising My Voice, the memoir of an immigrant. Simona, yes, thank you so much for being here with us at Brave.
Thank you for inviting me. It's such an honor, and thank you for creating this space where all of us women get to support each other and encourage each other to just show up at the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am thrilled you're here. And, there's so many components of your story that are really inspiring. And one of the ones that I feel like will resonate, especially for the women out there who are looking to take braver steps in their lives, is really being an immigrant who really didn't speak any English to becoming a speaker and being on a TEDx stage. And I feel like that's a long journey, but I would love it if you would break down a little bit some of the pieces that helped you to start to do that in your own life to say, okay, yes, it's I am worth it to stand up and speak and share what my story is about.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for asking that. And breaking down is the magic word in this story because I'm one of, unheard before, from what I know, that I break the rules when it's coming to public speaking. My first public speaking ever being on a TEDx stage. So while in a space where people tell you need to give a talk, you need to speak to some podcast, then you do a workshop, and then you do this, and then you do this, and maybe one day, if you're lucky enough, you can apply to a TEDx talk and be on that stage. Well, not required. Not required. So yes, a decade ago, I moved to United States as a single mom with my kid. He was 6 at the time, and we speak zero English. Not zero. I knew how to count from 1 to 10, and I also knew some bad words that I'm not going to tell them here. And then also, we didn't know anyone in a whole continent. So it's been a journey. My kid and I, we went through several hells together. Um, and later on, when I just took a minute, I'm like, what the hell I'm gonna do with my life? And I decided to go back to school and to learn how to take all my experience, what are the tools there that I could actually use, and the wisdom that I gain through all of that to support another woman, because unfortunately, I'm not the only one that's going through that. So I discovered coaching, and before you know it, life happened as such that I dive really deep into supporting LGBTQ community. So in order to do that, I start interviewing people to learn more about how they live their life, what are the struggles, how they overcome challenges and such. And somebody just invited me and it was like, I've been following your work and will be honored to invite you to give a TEDx talk. And I say yes. And then I freak out.
It always goes that way.
So talking about the bravery, I do believe that we only require to have courage for 1 second when we say yes to the scariest thing. And then we just, the whole system, it's kind of like, oh, calibrating to that, like, okay, I'm gonna do this damn thing, right? Because I say yes to it and I'm someone that follows through. So my whole tag thought was around gender identity and inclusion and parenting from a place of inclusion. But what went beyond that, when all the fears of being on such a large stage, knowing that it's going to be published for the whole world to see, knowing that I still have some mispronunciation and my English is not perfect, but at the same time, the message was way more important than all my fears and insecurities. So it really took to second of courage to say yes. And then when walking on that stage to just kind of like breathe in, and it's like, this is not about me. Nobody cares about my mispronunciation. I have a message to share that it's for others that need to hear. And that's what's basically the space that I tune into to go through the whole super extra long 13 minutes.
Simona, I love that story. It's so inspirational because I do love that you're like, okay, the courage has to be just the yes, and then a lot of accountability because saying yes to a TEDx talk, I'm sure, is a ton of accountability. And I loved what you said too, that what you're doing is bigger than yourself, which is an important thing for people to start to understand. And I feel like for many of the women watching, what can start to happen is you're doing work and you're actually really good at it, but because it doesn't feel like it's serving something that feels like a bigger purpose, it can feel a little bit challenged. And so I'm curious for you, like if you just, if that helps you and if that applies in other areas of your life, where serving something bigger is helping keep you accountable into doing things that might feel scary or hard.
100%. It is my belief that in every area, in everything that we are doing, the only space where we could access that courage to say yes to the craziest, wildest, scariest thing is because it is in our soul. And most of the time, or the things that actually they make no sense. Like, who am I to talk about a gender identity? I am no expert. I just find out about this world. Like, who am I to teach other parents about how to raise their children? Like, all the things, but all the things did not matter. All that mattered for me was like, I'm a parent of a son that just came out that is struggling with so much homophobia and discrimination, and I am called to do whatever it takes, whatever I can, to create a better future for him. So also knowing that I'm not the only parent that want to do that, also knowing that it's not the only child that needs that.
That's
I
so powerful.
hope this answer your question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was just letting it land for a moment because it's so powerful that sometimes it does take that, right? We have to realize it's so much bigger than ourselves. And it's very easy in the face of challenge to make it about ourselves and to be like, oh, like imposter syndrome came to mind when you didn't use that language, but that's what I felt. And
Yeah.
people, well, a lot of times like, who am I to do that? And it's like, well, there's some service. If there's some service you're truly in. And when I say service too, I don't mean necessarily it is to others, but also for what you're here to do, right? Because I feel like I'm curious for you if since that point, when you gave your talk, if you've realized more around your voice and the importance of you speaking up once you got past that sort of, oh, who am I to do this? What you've
Mhm.
realized around the importance of owning your voice.
Yes. I think the first thing that clicked for me was that concept of imposter syndrome, realizing that is just a super sexy strategy to stay in hiding. Because in the end of the day, taking this example as a parent, I know that you are willing to do whatever it takes for the well-being of your child. So those, shields, imposter syndrome, I don't have the confidence, I don't have the courage, they're just like strategies, but they're not real. Because if somebody come after your kid, you're gonna do things that you don't even think that you're capable of doing, right? So I believe that some same goes for everything. When we really identify that deepest why, right? Like that deepest calling that doesn't make sense to anybody, nor that should. It only has to make sense to me. So it is coming down to using our voice. It is coming down to actually say the damn thing and let go if you even say it right or not, if you pronounce it right or not, because those are just are the things that we are hiding behind. So accessing the voice, not even finding the voice. I believe that we never lose our voice. It's just we didn't use it. Also as a strategy to survive to whatever we went through, right? But we find that split second of courage. I'm gonna access my voice. I know it's not perfect, but I'm also called to say the things. So from there, yes, a lot opened up for me, and I could see it in my work and around me. A lot open for everybody in any space. It doesn't matter if you're on the stage, it doesn't matter if you just say or ask for what you want from your partner or set up a boundary. It doesn't matter what you speak to. When you speak from your heart, doors are opening. You get your power back.
Absolutely. I was thinking that as you were speaking, like you're talking about standing up on a stage, but I think about for myself, a big ownership of my voice has been saying to my partner what I need, or this is hard for me, or I'm struggling right now with this part of our relationship. Because that can be just as I mean, I haven't been on a TEDx stage, but it feels very terrifying in that moment. And then to say, oh, okay, like I really, it's important to say it,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, we are on so many different stages every day of our life. You're on a stage with your child, you're on a different stage with your best friend, you're on a different stage with your impossible mother, and so on and so on. So all the stages are terrifying until you find that second of just being brave enough to voice what is it that you think and feel.
Absolutely, 100%. I love how you articulate it. It's so powerful. Well, what would you suggest then for a woman who's watching and saying, okay, like she's struggling with that a little bit, like speaking up, whether it's in a relationship or now starting to understand and access her voice in terms of saying, okay, I am, it's time for me to leave my job or find my next career, see what's next for me. What you would help to break it down even more into like that moment by moment or day by day practice of starting to do this.
I would suggest to, first of all, where you are is perfect. And that's exactly the point that where you start shifting things and changing things. And I would suggest to start the next easiest thing to do. It could be as simple as ask your child to put the dishes in a sink, something that you probably didn't do it for years because you want to protect them and you want them to keep them happy or whatever the belief might be around that, and just ask that. Or as you say, tell your partner what is it that you want. It's starting with the little step. Look, I'm in a coaching space, and I know the setting of like take the leap, jump off the cliff. I'm not doing that. um, for my clients is like it's one question only: does it feel like a stretch or does it feel like a stroke? Does it feel like a stroke? It's way too big of a gap. So let's just do the next easiest thing that and you're sure that you could take that step. And the next day, look what's the next step for that. And little by little, like all this, like tiny, tiny, tiny steps, they are compounding. And before you know it, you're on a TEDx stage from no English to speaking with the whole world. It's possible.
Yeah. I love that. It is so important, those micro steps every single day. Like all the things that we do
Mm,
in our lives require actually multiple steps to get you to the outcome. And we could get very attached to the outcome. I know whenever people say, and they're going to take a wild leap, I'm like, well, let's pause and let's see if what's the next step before taking those big leaps, because you want to be clear before you get there. So, well, Simona, I love
yes.
that you are really supporting women to do that because it's so essential and all of us have to do it. They're all practices, right? It's like a living thing to be brave, to own your voice. It's a day in, day out kind of a deal.
100%.
Well, where can people reach you, Simona? And I know you have something, a free gift for everybody as well. Can you share a little bit more about how to connect with you and find out more about what you're up to?
Yes, I'm up to zillions of things because that's how I roll. I don't do niches and stuff. I do everything that I want to do, and I do a lot of things because I want to do a lot of things. The best way to contact me and to learn more about my work is my website, which is my name, simonaspark.com. And for this event particularly, I want to gift you guys with the free masterclass that speaks to how to access your confidence. Is the secret to confidence. So I will leave it up to you, Nicole, to give it to the audience and give them the code so they could access it for free. And it is my intention that everybody gets a little bit of, you know, nuggets from that masterclass.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel from the first time I heard about you and knew about you, I was like, oh, it's your name. And like you have literally, right, like that spark and that energy and that vibrancy. And I feel so grateful and honored that you're sharing your wisdom because truly, I love how bravery shows up in so many forms, and your version is so resonant for how can we say, okay, I'm still scared and I'm doing it because I know it's time to do something beyond myself. And what a powerful message to share with the women of Brave today. I'm so grateful that you're here with us. Thank you so much for coming and joining us for this conversation.
Well, thank you for having me. And I just want to acknowledge everybody that participated. This the only fact that you are here. You already took a brave step to, expose yourself to more information, more awareness, more shifting. So I just want to acknowledge everyone's courage.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Simona.
Thank you.